Well, in an earlier interview when we talked about reincarnation in tribal societies, you emphasized the work of Tyler, who collected a lot of data on reincarnation and animistic beliefs in tribal cultures and concluded that these beliefs were based on empirical observations, looking for the signs of reincarnation, much the way you and your anthropology work and reincarnation researchers do today.
Right.
Would you say that the ancient cultures, the Greeks and the Hindus and the Buddhists, also engaged in empirical observations of this type?
Much less so. Of course, with Pythagoras, we do see that.
Yeah.
Pythagoras does claim to have had the memories. He claims to have made that identification. So he seemed to be aware, at least. But in general, no. And this is important because as we're moving away from the tribal substrate here, where the belief in reincarnation is supposed to be based on the empirical experiences and observations, we have and was limited to conclusions drawn directly from this empirical data.
Yeah.
We have sort of a movement to begin thinking about reincarnation in more philosophical terms, and so it becomes elaborated in many, many different ways.
So it's likely, though, that these ancient peoples also had contact with indigenous cultures around them.
Yes, they would have had.
So their reincarnation beliefs could be, to some extent, an elaboration of folk beliefs of indigenous people.
To a certain extent, we see the most evidence of contact with indigenous peoples in India. In fact, the Indian beliefs in reincarnation appear to have emerged with contact, at the time of contact, with tribal beliefs in India.
In particular, I think you mentioned the Dravidians.
The Dravidian tribes of northern India. And in fact, in India, I mean, we tend to think about, India. There have been so many cases of reincarnation reported from India that we don't, many people don't realize that the great majority of them are reported from only a few areas of India, and particularly northern India, which is precisely the area that we're talking about here. Where the Aryans first entered India after having spent some time in the help me out here.
Caucasus,
Persia. The Indus Valley civilization, which is a little bit north. In the Indus Valley civilization was contemporaneous with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia.
Right.
But was an important civilization already before the Aryans who were coming in from Eurasia got there.
Yes, indeed.
So the Aryans who were, interestingly enough, related to the ancestors of the Greeks.
Yes.
All the Indo-European peoples, came out of Central Asia or out of Ukraine. Is thought to be the homeland of Indo-European speakers. And from there, they moved both west and east. So the Greeks and the Romans and the Hindus, and also the Iranians
had common ancestors.
But at any rate, Indo-European, Proto-Indo-European culture, as far as we can tell, did not have reincarnation beliefs, but they developed later among many different Indo-European peoples. But anyway, with the it's interesting that we began to see reincarnation beliefs in the mentions of cases also coming in India, appearing in the Upanishads.
Cases on the Vedas. Of the kind that are studied today with children having specific memories.
Specific memories and mentions of birthmarks and announcing dreams and these sorts of things.
So we have accounts like that from ancient India.
Yes, we do. Although the belief in reincarnation in India seems to have arisen through contact with the Dravidian tribes. the idea of karma was not. Karma is not an animistic idea. It's not one you find in tribal societies.
Right.
It developed in India, in Hinduism and also in Buddhism, which began to arise around this same time, and Jainism. They all together developed the idea of karma.
Well, they all became very philosophically inclined.
And they became, well, this was an aspect of that.
Around 500 BC or so, what's known as the Axial Age, the rise of the great religious theologies.
Right. You know, and so the development of the idea of karma was part of that.
Yes.